staggering. In 10 years, 222%. Our retirement assessments, 176% in 10 years. It's really important that we get our hands around these numbers and really understand them. And what is associated, what's driving these numbers forward? I mean, we obviously know healthcare, but we also gotta dig into this one. Because we cannot afford to continue to take this kind of an increase over the next 10 years. We can't afford 222%. And the answer isn't lay people off and let services go away. That's a bad answer. That's unfair to our employees. So as the leadership, we really need to peel these two numbers back and start to understand them. This also goes along with what I said earlier. The unfunded liability is something we have to have a plan for, and we don't. Any questions?
I just want to point out one thing, sorry I'm late, but it's interesting on the on chapter 70. I don't know how much the regular state aid is increased that goes directly to the town, but chapter 70 between fiscal year 2000 and fiscal year 2009 close to tripled from about $2 million in fiscal year 2000 to a little over $6 million, a little below $6 million in fiscal year 2009. State federal governments still aren't paying enough of their share because it's putting much more of a burden still on property taxes. But I think in 2005, when that Hancock case was decided and the state had to come up with more money, so they've taken a little bit bigger of the burden. If you look at the percentage of the budget that Chapter 70 covered in 2000 versus 2009, Chapter 70 does cover a larger percentage of the budget. It's still not sufficient, but the state has made an effort to help us in that area.
Then this section of the document just talks about why we need a strategic plan. So we basically take all that trend data that we've had from the last 10 years, and then try to fit it into why we need the strategic plan. What is the areas we need to focus on? Obviously, revenue is a big one. And you can see in here, I talk a little bit about wastewater, storage infrastructure. That is a big opportunity for us to try to create some new revenue for the town. And as I come into the bottom portion of this, we talk about our objectives. The objectives that this committee has met several times on and voted and agreed on these set of objectives that we need to take on, which we think will help us take this trend data that we see now for the next 5 years. As we start to build a financial plan for the next 5 years, what is it that we foresee coming down the road? And these are the types of things we see. Health insurance, again, 20% a year plus every year, all right, annually for the next 5 years. Retirement assessments at 17%. Medicare, government, our general government, 5.6% increase. We're in Proposition 2.5 across the Commonwealth. But look at these percentages, even in SPED, 14%. So again, Proposition 2.5, we can't be sustainable. We cannot operate in the current environment of what we're doing. So we have to make change. We have to find a way. Because you look here, right now, what we think, we foresee, if there's no change in our revenue, we can't create new revenues, we will see between $600,000 and $750,000 annually. Only about a 1 and 1.5% increase in our levy limit, in our revenue. That's not enough. So we have to make some important decisions now. May not be able to solve 2012, we're not going to be able to solve 2012. But we got to start working towards 2013, 2014, and beyond. And that's why I wanted to take the trend data from the past 10 years to help us make decisions going forward for the next 10 years. Any questions on this before I go into the objectives?
Just in relation to the trends, again, on the healthcare, I think that just seems high. The regular trend has been between 10 and 12% increase in premiums, but we added employees, which would have been probably another 10%.
It's added employees, it's added headcount.
Right.
And it's also the number of employees, existing employees that have switched to the town
That have participated.
insurance.
Right. So, I mean,
This is what we project for the next 5 years.
yeah, I think that projection is high. I don't think that that's necessarily going to be 20% a year over the next 5 years.
Well, again,
Because over the last 10 years, we had a significant change, you know? We had a significant change with
That's
increasing,
okay.
I don't see us increasing the employee base the same way we did 10% over the last 10 years.
We don't have to really, tonight, agree on that number. What we have to agree on, though, Steve, is that we're gonna willing to sit around and take the time to peel back what the number really is. Based on what, I worked with Craig and his staff and what we foresee, it's somewhere around 20%. Past data has proven that, and what we see coming forward.
Okay.
You may disagree, but we can put it on the table and have that discussion, because we need to. And this is a good thing, okay? We're finally actually gonna look at something in advance of the next 5 years, or the next 3 years, and understand it. You're right, you may be right, maybe that number's not perfect. Again, it's a projection. It just opens our eyes up. I'm not trying to tell a story, I'm not here to give you a false sense of, the sky is falling here. It's based on our research, people that are here every day in town hall, worked with me with these numbers and gave me these numbers, and I believe them. They know what they're doing. They have a very good handle on what's coming forward.
Michael, see, the way I would look at this is maybe just a slightly different. I look at the past 10 years, and I say, okay, that's what happened, okay? That's recorded data. And when I look at the health insurance or any one of those items, I then go and say, okay, what's gonna happen in the next 5 or 10 years, right? I don't automatically project the 20% or the 17 out. What I do is I try to understand what the 20% is about, what the environment is
Yes.
going on out there, and I
Yeah.
make a prediction, right? Best prediction I can make of what maybe the next 5 or 10 years is gonna be.
And that's exactly what we're
Okay.
supposed to do.
So I
Right.
just, right, okay, I just
You hit
wanted
the
to
nail
make
on the
sure
head.
that
Bob,
you're
what
not
I tried to
looking-
do- I didn't want to put the answers to the test on this, okay? What I was trying to do is present something that will help us as a committee actually get to where you're talking.
okay, fine.
And I think that's the most important thing. If just you do it, and then you come here and you present it, then we're not a unified board. We need to do it together. And I know everybody's busy. We all have very busy things going on in our lives, but this is really important. We have to actually do it together. If we're not doing it together, then we're not unanimously working this as a team, and we're not gonna make good decisions as a team. Okay, so now we've talked about this executive summary and about a strategic plan. And we have met as a board, behind closed doors, in the executive session. We really spent a lot of time. And again, the board prior to my arrival did a lot of work, and after my arrival, we've done some additional work.
Mike, I want to clarify something. We did meet in a work session off-site. It was a public meeting,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
just for the record. Both times.
Okay. Thank you. So, without getting into the details of the objectives that we're gonna take on, I'm just kind of highlighting here in bold, and I know it's hard for you to see them at home, but in the written document, you'll see them in bold. And the first area is about enhancing the community. And you'll see as we go along, we have objectives focused on how we enhance our community. Also about achieving long-term financial stability for the town. We don't have long-term financial stability for the town if we continue to just keep doing what we're doing. We have to make positive changes to how we do everything across the board. And I know we've run into some heated arguments, you've seen it at town meeting, and just in relation to the health plan. But we all have to face facts. We cannot afford to keep taking on a health plan, what we have in place today, if we think we can sustain in the future. We can't. So we have to work with our employees to get them to understand it, and they can help us understand the challenges they face. And then we gotta try to do it, just like we talked about in our mission, respectfully and what's affordable for our town. Any questions on the objective? There's a few more as we go along. So just to give you a little bullet example of things we're gonna take on related to that objective, is the wastewater plan, an economic development plan, which you approved at town meeting, and marketing plan, a strategy. So as we start to bring the new infrastructure and storage into our town, that's going to hopefully take those properties that are undervalued today, because they have septic systems, that now when we bring the storage in, that property becomes much more valuable, which allows our levy limit to go up. And now we can market our town, out to larger companies that are interested, maybe a hotel down the road. But at least now we have something to work with, so that objective we can achieve, and we're gonna focus on these three bullets, those three objectives. And how we're going to do that is we're gonna split amongst all of us. We're each gonna take one of these objectives, build a project plan, and then start to build some associated goals, and then go out and achieve those goals to ultimately achieve the objective. Any questions on that?
Mike, just as a comment, and maybe it shouldn't be a bullet in here, maybe you just kind of do it a little synopsis, but should there be something in the objectives here in relation to the investments that are gonna be required to be made in order to achieve some of these things?
You'll see that when you build a project plan,
I know
you should
that.
have those things should be in the project plan. I agree with you on
But,
that.
and then,
Because you need them to achieve the objective.
yeah, and the other thing is that what we've already set in motion here is the debt stabilization
Yes.
plan, which should be part of our objective to maintain, and again, keep balancing that too, and maybe should be mentioned,
Maybe should.
uh,
Yeah, that's a really good input. Okay, another one, continuous improve the government efficiency. You know, we do a lot in this town with very little staff, but I think we could try to look and do some research, things that we can take our staff and make them even more efficient, because let's face it, we're not giving them any more money to hire more staff. So hopefully, technology solutions can help expand their capabilities and reduce the workload, because there's a lot of people overworked, especially in our finance division. So it's definitely something we have to take on, and we'll be working with Gene, and I'm sure Bob will be actively involved in that, since he's got a lot of background in that. Developing a collective bargaining strategy, you've heard us talk about it a little bit, but it's a very important objective, that we have a strategy that's shared across all of our contracts. Because it's not right for us to go out and have a strategy for one contract and not for others. It's just something we have to work on, and it's definitely something we're actively doing right now. Shared municipality services, school service, just how a lot of towns are doing it now. Sean and I actually went to go meet with the folks over in Wakefield to talk about where we could probably work with them on things. We're so close, so there has to be some ideas we could share, and we're actually gonna continue those conversations, and we probably need to do it more with other surrounding towns. Greater energy self-sufficiency. We have an energy committee in town, we need to work with them in achieving this objective. Improve management labor relations, regional public safety dispatch, combined public safety dispatch. This didn't come from our police or our fire. These are objectives that we, as a board, we felt were important for us to take on over the next 5 years, maybe even 10 years. But we need our public safety on board with us, to at least peel these back. I'm not saying they're perfect ideas, I'm not saying it's ideas that we're actually gonna take on, but we should get ourselves educated, the pros and cons. And at the end of the day, if the cons outweigh the pros, then we should just move on. But we think these are areas of what we can look into to help us achieve the overall objective. Objectives to provide quality education, public safety, and public health. ALS, this is an ongoing advanced life support service. This is a new service that Mr. Messeri and Mr. Delaney have been working with the chief and his department on trying to bring that service to North Reading, a service we don't offer today. An actual service that is a revenue generator. It helps our department increase their capabilities, because we already have, I think a couple people that have that ability, but we need to go out and hire, sir. We have 3 now, yes. We're trying to get to a total of at least 4? 8, sorry, 8. So we have our work cut out for us there, but again, this is a service that actually won't cost the taxpayers money. It will actually help bring in some new revenue. It will help our fire department increase even their equipment and their capital potentially. Who knows what we could do? It could be endless, but it's a new opportunity, new objective that we are researching. New high school and middle school, we know that's ongoing. We support it, so we made it one of our objectives. We want to support the finance, the school committee and the school department, along with the finance committee, to help make that happen. Renovate a new and renovated senior center, and we're doing that now. We're in the process of the third meeting house, getting that renovated, but I don't think we need to, we wanna stop there. I don't think that